Welcome to the Art of Not Forcing Anything, Unlocking the Power of Effortless Living, brought to you by Mindful Literary. In a world that often encourages us to hustle, push through, and force outcomes, we sometimes forget that there's an alternative, one rooted in allowing, accepting, and flowing with life rather than battling against it. This audiobook is an invitation to explore that alternative. This journey is about more than just letting go or relaxing. It's about understanding the deep wisdom behind living with ease, without resistance, and the tangible benefits this approach can bring to your life. Effortless living doesn't mean passive inaction. It means aligning yourself with your natural rhythms, accepting what comes your way, and recognizing when it's time to act and when it's time to surrender. Throughout this audiobook, you'll discover the profound shifts that come from adopting a mindset of non-force. We begin by understanding the concept itself. What does it mean not to force something? Is it about abandoning effort, or is there a deeper art at play? You'll learn how ease and struggle have been viewed throughout history, and how modern psychology supports the idea that when we stop forcing things, we create space for growth, healing, and success. Each chapter offers a new layer of insight, from the power of acceptance to the importance of patience and mindfulness. You'll hear real-life stories of individuals who have shifted from a life of force to one of ease, and how that transformation has led them to personal fulfillment, deeper relationships, and creative breakthroughs. These are stories not just of surrender, but of thriving through it. We'll also explore practical tools and exercises you can implement immediately, from techniques to cultivate patience to methods for tuning into your intuition and natural flow. These are tools that can help you navigate the complexities of modern life while staying centered in a place of calm. Whether you're struggling to let go of control, trying to set healthier boundaries, or looking to embrace the uncertainty of life, this audiobook will offer the wisdom and practices you need. Listening to an audiobook allows for a deeply immersive experience. As the concepts unfold, you'll find yourself reflecting on your own life, your relationships, career, daily habits, and the ways you may be forcing outcomes without even realizing it. But more importantly, you'll begin to see how a small shift in mindset can lead to profound changes in how you live, work, and connect with others. This audiobook is not only a guide, but also a companion. It offers thought-provoking analogies, expert tips, and exercises designed to open your mind and change your approach to life. Whether you're driving, walking, or relaxing, the lessons of non-force will unfold in a way that invites deep listening and reflection. So as we begin this journey together, take a deep breath. You're not here to fix yourself or force change. Instead, you're here to open up to a new way of being, one where life unfolds naturally without strain or pressure. Through the art of not forcing anything, you'll learn to embrace the flow of life, to live more fully, and to unlock the power that comes with effortless living. Let's begin. Chapter 1: Understanding the Concept of Non-Force. What does it mean to not force? Not forcing can often feel like swimming against the current in a world that glorifies hustle culture. I used to believe that pushing harder and striving relentlessly was the path to success. The societal pressure to achieve more, be more, and do more can weigh heavily on us, blurring our understanding of what it means to simply be. Over time, I learned that non-force isn't about inaction or laziness. It's a mindset that encourages a gentler, more intuitive approach to life. This realization hit me one afternoon while I was trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, both in my personal endeavors and my professional goals. I had been forcing a project that wasn't meant to happen, convinced that it was just a matter of willpower. What I found was that stepping back and allowing space for inspiration led to far greater outcomes. The impact of adopting a non-force mindset can transform both your personal happiness and professional effectiveness. In my own experience, when I stopped forcing things to go my way, I noticed a shift in my relationships and my work. Instead of charging full steam ahead, I learned to engage with life in a more fluid way, responding to opportunities as they arose, rather than trying to control every situation. In my career, this translated to stronger teamwork and collaboration, because my colleagues felt less pressure and more freedom to express their ideas. When we step away from the grind, we make room for creativity and innovation. I began to trust that solutions would reveal themselves exactly when they needed to. Practicing non force offers tangible benefits, but it requires a conscious effort to cultivate patience and discernment. I found that when I focused more on the process than the outcome, I enjoyed the journey in ways I hadn't before. A practical tip: start small. Set aside time each day to simply reflect or engage in activities without the pressure of a goal. This practice allows clarity to emerge and can lead to breakthroughs in understanding what you truly want. As you embrace this less forced approach, you'll not only discover your own true desires, but also unlock new paths to achieving them, creating a richer tapestry of experiences in every area of your life. Historical perspectives on ease and struggle. Throughout history, there have been remarkable individuals who embodied the principle of ease. Take Leonardo da Vinci, for example. His natural curiosity and effortless blending of art and science showcased how following one's passion can lead to groundbreaking discoveries. Da Vinci didn't approach his work with a rigid agenda. Rather, he flowed from one idea to another, allowing his creativity and intellect to guide his path. This seamless connection between his artistic endeavors and scientific inquiries exemplifies how embracing a natural flow can lead to extraordinary achievements. Similarly, consider the teachings of Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese philosopher and writer, whose emphasis on wu wei, or effortless action, encourages individuals to align with the world around them. Lao Tzu's work suggests that when we stop forcing our will onto our surroundings, we open ourselves to a greater ease in life. This idea resonates deeply, as many of us have experienced moments when letting go of control has resulted in unforeseen positive outcomes. Various cultures convey distinct narratives about the value of struggle and relaxation. In many Western cultures, notable admiration often goes to those who hustle relentlessly, epitomizing the grind mentality. The concept that hard work is the only path to success creates a narrative where struggle is seen as noble and essential. However, this perspective often overlooks the balance that is equally crucial. Periods of relaxation can fuel creativity and rejuvenation, enhancing overall productivity. Contrastingly, Eastern philosophies frequently emphasize harmony and mental tranquility. Lifestyle practices such as Tai Chi and mindfulness meditation highlight the importance of ease and being present in the moment. These cultures teach that by embracing calm and relaxation, individuals can achieve clarity and more profound insights. It's fascinating how these different cultural values shape individual behaviors and societal norms regarding achievement and fulfillment. A practical takeaway from this exploration is recognizing when it's time to lean into ease rather than struggle. Paying attention to your body and mind can guide you in striking a balance between hard work and relaxation. When faced with challenges, take a step back and evaluate if a change in approach may yield better results instead of clinging tightly to the struggle. The psychological impact of forcing versus allowing. Excessive forcing in daily life can create a ripple effect that stirs up mental health issues. I remember a time in my life when I had a demanding job and I felt pressure to push through stress without giving myself a moment to breathe. Each time I forced myself to meet unrealistic deadlines, I felt a difference in my mental state. It was as though I was carrying a weight that only grew heavier. Research shows that this kind of constant pushing can lead to anxiety, burnout, and depression. The body and mind need time to recharge, yet too often we believe that we must keep going, no matter the cost. This relentless drive can warp our perception, making relaxation feel like a luxury rather than a necessity. Through my experience, I've learned that forcing too much often leads to a loss of joy in what we do. Instead of feeling accomplished after completing a task, I often felt drained. Understanding the fine line between motivation and force can help us recognize when we are down a path that ultimately harms more than it helps. On the other hand, allowing ourselves the space to be flexible and gentle can nurture psychological resilience and well-being. I discovered this when I started practicing mindfulness. Letting go of my need to control every aspect of my day opened new pathways to understanding my own thoughts and feelings. Instead of wrestling with tasks, I began to approach my responsibilities with curiosity and acceptance. Allowing isn't about passivity, it's about engaging with life more compassionately. This shift cultivated a greater sense of self awareness, helping me adapt to challenges with a calmer mind. Studies indicate that people who practice allowing often experience lower stress levels and greater life satisfaction. This doesn't mean there aren't still responsibilities. Rather, it's about how we engage with them. For example, when I felt overwhelmed, instead of pushing through, I would pause, take a breath, and assess whether I needed a break or perhaps a different approach. This simple practice brought a sense of clarity and renewed energy, reinforcing the idea that well being stems from a balanced, mindful approach to life. Finding harmony between forcing and allowing is crucial for nurturing mental health and emotional stability. By being aware of our tendencies to force, we can pivot towards allowing ourselves grace. This isn't solely about following our whims, but recognizing that sometimes it's okay to slow down and reflect. One practical tip that emerged from my experiences is to cultivate a daily ritual of reflection, perhaps at the end of the day, where you evaluate your efforts. What were the moments when you forced yourself? How did that make you feel? Conversely, identify times when you allowed yourself to ease into situations. Recognizing these patterns can be enlightening and lead you toward healthier habits. Embracing this balance can illuminate a path to more profound fulfillment and psychological well being. Chapter 2: The Power of Acceptance. Embracing Reality, the First Step. Acceptance is often the unsung hero in our journey of personal growth. It is more than just a passive acknowledgement of circumstances. It is an active, deliberate choice to recognize and engage with the truth of our experiences, no matter how uncomfortable or challenging they may be. When we embrace acceptance, we create a solid foundation from which to build our future. It allows us to step out of denial and self-deception, paving the way for real healing and growth. By acknowledging reality as it is, we unlock the potential for transformation. Without acceptance, we remain trapped in our stories, paralyzed by fear or anger, unable to move forward. This foundational act invites clarity, empowering us to respond to life with courage and intention. It is the first, albeit hardest, step toward change. Stories of transformation often reveal a common thread: the moment of acceptance. I remember a friend named Lisa who faced a health crisis that turned her life upside down. Initially, she fought hard against her diagnosis, holding on to the hope that it wasn't true, until everything spiraled out of control. The turning point came when she finally sat in front of her doctor and allowed the reality of her condition to wash over her. In that moment, she realized that acceptance did not mean defeat. Rather, it was a powerful launchpad for action. Once Lisa embraced her reality, she began exploring treatment options, seeking support from communities of people with similar struggles, and even found new passions in life. Her journey illustrates how acceptance can unlock doors to resilience and renewed purpose. Another illuminating experience comes from the workplace, where a colleague named Tom faced a difficult layoff. Initially, he was consumed by feelings of betrayal and fear about his future. However, after much reflection, he accepted the situation and began to reassess his career goals. This moment of acceptance sparked a journey he had long resisted, entering the field of graphic design, a passion he had kept on the back burner for years. Tom's story illustrates that acceptance doesn't simply allow us to cope, it can initiate profound change in our lives. For anyone feeling stuck or overwhelmed, adopting a mindset of acceptance can be a rallying cry for action and a powerful way to reframe our experiences. The next time you find yourself facing a tough truth, remember that acceptance is the first step toward reclaiming your power. Embracing reality can feel daunting, but a simple practice can make it easier. Try taking a moment each day to sit in stillness and acknowledge your current feelings and circumstances without judgment. This practice can create space for clarity, allowing you to observe your reality as it is, rather than how you wish it to be. Over time, this will help solidify acceptance as a natural foundation for personal growth. Learning to let go of control. Many days, I find myself caught in a whirlwind of thoughts, desperately clinging to the idea that I can control every aspect of my life. I meticulously plan my day, down to the last detail, convinced that if I can just manage my schedule and surroundings perfectly, I will be happy and successful. However, I have come to realize that this belief in control is an illusion that often weighs heavily on me. The more I grasp for control, the more burdensome my life becomes. Each expectation I set for myself transforms into a new source of anxiety. I remember a time when I fixated on organizing a family gathering, meticulously crafting the menu and scheduling each activity down to the minute. I wanted everything to go smoothly, but the moment some unforeseen hiccups appeared, I felt a tightness in my chest. It was a wake up call that made me question why I should let a gathering meant for joy turn into a checklist of my need for control. As I began to reflect and unpack these feelings, I learned that letting go of the need to control does not mean abandoning responsibility. Rather, it is about recognizing when I am holding on too tightly. One practical strategy that has helped me gently release this grip is to practice mindfulness. Instead of trying to dominate every moment, I take a step back. I pause and breathe, allowing myself to observe how a situation unfolds without my intervention. For instance, during a recent project at work, rather than micromanaging every detail, I chose to trust my team members to handle their tasks. This not only alleviated my stress, but also empowered them to take ownership, resulting in a more collaborative and productive environment. I have found that when I shift my perspective from control to trust, I create space for creativity and spontaneity. Another effective method is embracing imperfection. I have learned to celebrate the small mishaps that life throws my way. Each unexpected turn is an opportunity for growth. When my perfectly planned dinner turned into a messy kitchen experience, I found laughter and connection with my family over the chaos instead of frustration. By allowing things to be messy and unpredictable, I have come to appreciate the richness of life. In moments of tightness or anxiety, I remind myself that it is perfectly okay not to have everything under control. One practical tip I now carry with me is to ask myself, what if I let go? This simple question invites curiosity and opens up the possibility of exploring life as it comes, without the heavy burden of control weighing me down. Acceptance as a tool for personal growth. Acceptance is often perceived as a passive stance, but in reality, it serves as a powerful catalyst for accelerated personal development. When I reflect on my own journey, I realize that embracing my circumstances instead of resisting them changed everything. For instance, during a particularly challenging phase of my life, I found myself grappling with the reality of my limitations. At first, I fought against them, trying to deny or overcome what I felt was a setback. However, when I finally accepted my situation, I began to notice something remarkable. Acceptance did not translate to defeat. Instead, it opened up new pathways for growth that I had previously overlooked. By letting go of my struggle against reality, I was able to see my strengths in a new light and explore opportunities that aligned with my true self, leading to a more authentic life. Real life examples resonate deeply with the notion that acceptance can lead to profound breakthroughs. Consider the story of a close friend who faced a dramatic career change when her company downsized. Initially, she felt a wave of fear and anger, convinced that this disruption was a personal failure. Yet, after a period of reflecting on her feelings, she made the conscious decision to accept her circumstances. By doing so, she liberated herself from the frantic search for another corporate job that didn't excite her. Instead, with her newfound perspective, she started exploring her passion for art that had been sidelined for years. Acceptance allowed her to become a successful freelance artist, a role that not only amplified her creativity, but also fulfilled her on a deeper level. This transformation illuminated how embracing what is can sometimes lead to discovering what truly matters. As these stories illustrate, acceptance is not about complacency. It's about transforming our mindset to align with reality so we can take constructive action. To cultivate acceptance in your own life, consider starting with small, daily practices. Acknowledge your feelings without judgment, write in a journal, or meditate on what is and what can be. Little by little, you'll find that accepting your reality not only fosters resilience, but also opens you up to possibilities you may never have considered before. Embrace acceptance as a pathway to growth, and you might just discover a version of yourself that was waiting to emerge all along. Chapter 3: Mindfulness and Presence. Cultivating a mindful attitude. Mindfulness, at its core, is the practice of being fully present in the moment, engaging with our experiences without judgment. In a world that often feels like it's moving too fast, where distractions are endless, cultivating a mindful attitude offers a refreshing antidote. I recall a time when I was caught in the whirlwind of life, juggling work, family, and personal commitments. It felt as if each moment only passed me by, leaving me more frazzled than before. Mindfulness emerged as a lifeline, giving me the tools to slow down, breathe, and truly appreciate life. This practice is not merely a trend, it's a vital skill that can enhance our emotional well-being and improve our focus. It helps ground us, allowing us to navigate the chaos with clarity and calm. In the hustle of our daily routines, recognizing the importance of living in the present can transform our lives, making each day richer and more meaningful. Integrating a mindful perspective into everyday life may seem daunting, but it can be quite simple with a few foundational practices. One technique that resonated with me was starting my mornings with a few minutes of silence. Just sitting with my cup of coffee, feeling the warmth between my hands, and noticing the sounds around me. This intentional pause sets a tone for the rest of my day. Additionally, weaving mindfulness into mundane tasks like washing dishes or going for a walk can be quite powerful. Instead of letting my mind drift to deadlines or what's next on the agenda, I focus on the sensation of water against my hands or the rhythm of my footsteps. Such practices don't take much time, but create moments of awareness that can alter the course of my day. The key is to bring attention back whenever distraction arises and to be gentle with ourselves in the process. One practical tip I swear by is to set reminders throughout the day to check in with my breath. Whether it's a gentle nudge from my phone or a sticky note on my computer, these cues encourage me to take a moment, breathe deeply, and reconnect with the present. It's astonishing how such a simple act can recenter my thoughts and bring peace amidst the busyness. Mindfulness doesn't ask us to change our lives drastically. Instead, it invites us to notice what's already there. By embracing this practice, we can transform our daily experiences into something remarkable. Techniques to stay present, breathing and beyond. Simple breathing techniques can be incredibly powerful tools to help anchor ourselves in the present moment. I remember sitting in a hectic coffee shop, the buzz of conversations and the sound of espresso machines creating a chaotic background. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, I focused on my breath. Inhaling deeply through my nose, I felt my abdomen expand, then slowly exhaling through my mouth, I imagined my worries flowing out with each breath. This practice not only brought me into the here and now, but also created a sense of calm amidst the chaos. Even just a few deep breaths can be a game changer. It's amazing how this simple act brings your awareness back, grounding you in the present and helping to clear away distractions. Beyond breathing, there are many other mindfulness methods that can enhance our ability to stay present. For instance, meditation has been a cornerstone of mindfulness practice for centuries. One evening, I decided to set aside some time to sit quietly. I closed my eyes and focused on each breath, but my mind wandered repeatedly. Instead of feeling frustrated, I acknowledged each thought, gently letting it go and returning to my breath. This experience taught me that mindfulness is less about achieving a blank mind and more about cultivating awareness and acceptance. Another effective method is mindful walking, which allows me to connect with my surroundings. As I stroll through the park, I make a conscious effort to pay attention to the sensation of my feet touching the ground, the breeze on my skin, and the sounds of nature. These practices, whether sitting in meditation or taking a mindful walk, invite us to be fully present, engaging our senses and anchoring ourselves in the beauty of the moment. By integrating these techniques into our daily lives, we cultivate a deeper connection to ourselves and our surroundings. As you explore these techniques, remember the value of consistency. Just as we brush our teeth daily, making mindfulness a regular part of your routine can help you stay present. Try setting aside a few moments each day to focus on your breathing or to enjoy a mindful walk. the world around you will become richer and you'll find yourself experiencing life more fully. Start with just a few minutes a day and gradually increase as you feel comfortable. Even small moments dedicated to mindfulness can have a profound impact on your day. Real life stories, moments of mindfulness. Reflecting on significant moments in life often reveals the profound impact of being fully present. I remember one particular day when my grandmother was celebrating her 80th birthday. The room was filled with family and friends, laughter echoing off the walls. Instead of getting lost in the noise or anxiously checking my phone, I consciously chose to immerse myself in the moment. The taste of the cake, the warmth of my grandmother's hug, and the stories shared among relatives felt almost sacred. In that instance, I understood that the memories we create are deeply tied to our awareness of them. Being present transformed a regular family gathering into a cherished tableau of love and connection, a moment I now treasure deeply. This mindfulness is not just about focusing. It's about feeling every aspect of an experience, allowing it to wash over us in a way that makes it unforgettable. Small daily practices can lead to profound transformations in our lives through mindfulness. I heard a friend share how she began a simple morning ritual of sipping tea in silence for 5 minutes. Initially, it was just a task on her to-do list, but slowly it became a sacred time. She began to notice the delicate aroma of the tea, the soothing warmth of the mug in her hands, and the gentle sounds of the morning outside her window. Through this small act, she cultivated a deeper connection to her thoughts and feelings, which rippled into her entire day. She felt less rushed and more attuned to her surroundings. This small practice taught her that mindfulness could be woven effortlessly into even the busiest mornings. It's inspiring to see how tiny, seemingly insignificant actions can spark profound change. Incorporating mindfulness into daily life doesn't have to be complicated. One effective tip is to engage with your surroundings in new ways. For example, on your next walk, try to notice 5 things you've never seen before. This simple act encourages a playful curiosity and helps ground you in the present moment. Remember, each day holds countless opportunities to practice being aware, whether it's during your morning routine or over a shared meal with loved ones. These tiny shifts can lead to a richer, more present experience of life. Chapter 4: The Role of Patience. Why Patience is a Virtue. The saying patience is a virtue has origins that stretch far back into history, tracing its roots to Latin and various philosophical teachings. It's been echoed in many cultures, suggesting that patience is not just a trait, but a hallmark of wisdom and maturity. When I first encountered this phrase, I barely understood its depth. I was in my early 20s, caught up in a whirlwind of expectations, striving for quick successes in my career and relationships. I thought patience meant just biding my time, but in reality, it's about holding a mindset that allows for growth and learning as we navigate life's challenges. This perspective is especially relevant in today's fast-paced world, where instant gratification is often the norm. Validating this phrase means recognizing that greatness often requires time, effort, and the ability to endure the inevitable bumps along the way. It can also evoke a sense of peace, as I learn to trust the process rather than constantly seek immediate rewards. Understanding the benefits of patience becomes clearer when reflecting on my own life and the goals I've pursued. Early on, I wanted to leap into the professional world without taking essential steps, leading to setbacks that could have been avoided had I taken the time to be patient and strategic. When I finally embraced patience, I began to appreciate the journey of developing skills and forging relationships that would support my long-term aspirations. It's this realization that transformed my approach. For example, in my writing career, I once spent weeks agonizing over a single paragraph, too eager to complete my manuscript. Adopting patience allowed me to step back, refine my thoughts, and ultimately produce a piece I could be proud of. Each time I experienced that delayed gratification, from nurturing friendships over years to seeing career projects come to fruition, I learned that patience leads to richer, more fulfilling outcomes. Adopting a patient mindset opens doors to various strategies in our daily lives. It encourages setting long-term goals that might seem daunting at first. By breaking those goals into smaller, manageable tasks, we engage patiently with each step, celebrating minor achievements along the way. It's important to remind ourselves that the best things in life often come with time and effort. For anyone seeking a path forward, here's a practical tip. Try journaling about your goals and the patience required in reaching them. Documenting your journey helps reinforce the notion that patience isn't just about waiting. It's about actively participating in your growth and development. By doing so, you'll begin to see patience as an ally rather than a hindrance, allowing you to embrace the journey of life one step at a time. Practical exercises for developing patience. Engaging in hands-on activities can be a transformative way to cultivate patience across various aspects of our lives. One of my memorable experiences was learning to garden. Initially, I was impatient to see results. I wanted the flowers to bloom in no time. However, the simple act of planting seeds and nurturing them taught me that patience is integral to growth. Each day, I learned to appreciate the small changes, the way the soil shifted as I watered, or how new sprouts emerged from beneath the surface. Following this, I discovered that cooking can also be a meditative practice in patience. By taking the time to chop vegetables, allow flavors to meld, and savor the process, I learned patience not just in food preparation, but in life. Every stir of the pot became a reminder that good things often take time. Furthermore, practicing mindfulness during these activities deepened my understanding of patience, allowing me to remain present and enjoy the journey rather than just racing toward the destination. Reflective practices can play a crucial role in acknowledging the progress we make in developing patience. One of the most effective methods I stumbled upon was keeping a patience journal. Initially, I recorded daily occurrences where my patience was tested, such as standing in line or dealing with traffic. Over time, I reflected on how I responded to these situations. Did I count to 10, take deep breaths, or remind myself that impatience wouldn't change the outcome? Noticing my reactions helped me identify patterns and areas for growth. Another powerful technique was setting aside time for contemplation. I often found a quiet spot to sit with my thoughts, reviewing my day through the lens of patience. This reliable time to reflect not only served as a reminder of my progress, but also highlighted moments where I still needed to cultivate more patience. It became clear to me how tracking my experiences provided vital insights into my emotional landscape. One practical tip that emerged from these reflective practices is to celebrate small victories in your journey toward patience. Whether it's successfully waiting for a delayed train without frustration or managing to cook a meal without rushing, acknowledging these moments can reinforce the progress you're making. With each successful endeavor, you're not only developing patience, but you're also reinforcing a sense of accomplishment that can motivate you to continue this journey. Patient living, integrating patience into everyday life. In my own journey, I discovered that patience isn't just an innate trait. It can be cultivated through daily practice and intentionality. Starting my mornings with a moment of stillness has transformed my approach to the day. I take a few minutes to breathe deeply, grounding myself in the present moment. This small ritual sets a tone of patience that permeates my interactions. Whether I'm commuting to work or engaged in a conversation, I remind myself to pause before reacting. This isn't always easy, especially in our fast-paced world where instant gratification reigns supreme. But I find that creating this habit helps me respond more thoughtfully to others. Incorporating patience into daily routines can also be about choosing our responses in challenging situations. For instance, when I am stuck in traffic and my frustration begins to bubble up, I remind myself that getting upset won't change the circumstance. Instead, I take the opportunity to listen to a podcast or an audiobook, transforming a frustrating wait into a chance for growth and relaxation. I also started having regular check-ins with friends and family. These conversations often serve as a mirror, reflecting how we handle impatience with one another. Listening actively and thoughtfully in these moments deepens our connections and empowers us to cultivate patience, not just for ourselves, but for those around us. As I embraced patience, I noticed profound shifts in my relationships and overall well-being. A close friend of mine shared her story of embracing patience while raising her two children. She learned to savor the moments of chaos, reminding herself that their growth is a marathon, not a sprint. This perspective allowed her to enjoy the small victories, watching them take their first steps or speak their first words, rather than focusing solely on the inevitable challenges of parenting. By remaining patient, she fostered an environment where her children felt safe to explore and learn at their own pace, and in turn, it deepened their bond. At work, I witnessed the power of patience in a team setting. A manager I admire often takes time to mentor junior staff, even when deadlines loom large. Instead of rushing through tasks, she invests in developing skills, knowing that a little patience now will yield substantial rewards later. This approach not only enhances team morale, but also creates a foundation of trust and collaboration that promotes long-term success. Stories like these remind us that patient living is not merely a personal virtue, but a ripple effect that enriches our communities. It is a reminder that the essence of patience lies in understanding that the journey of life unfolds at its own pace, and embracing this reality can lead to deeper fulfillment. In nurturing patience daily, we leave space for reflection and connection. Even in small moments, like taking a minute longer to savor my coffee, I find joy in the present. One practical tip I've embraced is to keep a patience journal, where I jot down instances when I succeeded in being patient or when I faced challenges. It's a simple yet effective way to track progress and discover patterns to work on. This practice not only reinforces my journey, but also reminds me to celebrate the growth that patience brings into my life. Chapter 5: Aligning with your natural rhythm. Discovering your individual flow. Recognizing and connecting with our personal natural rhythms can feel like trying to catch a fleeting shadow. For me, it began with a simple realization. Not all days are created equal. Some mornings I wake up energized, ready to tackle my to-do list with fervor, while other days I feel like walking through mud. The trick is to pay attention to these fluctuations and honor them. I started keeping a journal to track my energy levels at different times of the day, noticing patterns that seemed to emerge. Gradually, I discovered that I did my best creative work in the early hours after a good night's sleep, while afternoons were perfect for mundane tasks. This conscious observation helped me restructure my schedule, allowing me to align my activities with my peaks of productivity. Every person has their unique rhythm, influenced by various factors like sleep, diet, and even emotional state. When I started prioritizing my most challenging tasks during high-energy times, my overall output skyrocketed. Studies indicate that productivity is not merely about the hours logged, but the quality of those hours. Understanding and harnessing our natural rhythms can significantly influence our ability to create and execute ideas. I began experimenting with techniques like focus sprints, followed by short breaks, a method I learned from various productivity gurus. This introduction of intentional breaks aligned seamlessly with my rhythms, allowing me to recharge mentally and creatively. The impact of these natural rhythms on creativity is profound. The times I allowed myself to step back and engage in activities away from the desk, like going for a walk or practicing mindfulness, often resulted in bursts of inspiration. Creativity often ebbs and flows. Understanding this cycle enables us to ride the waves rather than fight against them. When I embraced this concept, I noticed that my creative projects took on a new vibrancy. They stopped feeling like chores and started to become joyous explorations. I encourage everyone to take note of their unique rhythms. Experiment with your schedule and find what feels sacredly yours. When you observe these nuances, you'll likely find a wellspring of productivity and creativity waiting to be tapped into, ready for you to explore. The seasons of life. Adapting to change. Understanding life's cyclical nature through the metaphor of seasons can be a powerful lens through which we view our own experiences. Just as the world around us transforms through spring's birth, summer's vibrancy, autumn's harvest, and winter's dormancy, our lives also experience similar cycles. I remember a poignant moment during a chilly November afternoon, one where I perched on my porch, watching the leaves dance gracefully to the ground. Each leaf, once vibrant and green in the summer, now curled and crumbled, seem to whisper stories of change. It struck me then how these cyclical transitions mirror our own journeys. We too experience seasons of growth, abundance, decay, and rest, often feeling the weight of each transition, just as the trees feel the weight of the snow in winter. Recognizing this cyclical pattern offers comfort. It reminds us that change is not only inevitable, but necessary for renewal and personal transformation. Adapting to personal changes gracefully requires a blend of self-awareness and proactive strategies. Throughout my life, I've faced moments where change felt overwhelming, whether it was moving to a new city, losing a loved one, or starting a new job. During these times, I learned to implement simple yet effective practices that ground me. A few minutes of daily reflection can center you in the chaos of change. Writing in a journal, for instance, has been invaluable for me. This practice allows thoughts to escape the confines of my mind, making room for clarity and encouraging me to embrace my feelings about any transition. Additionally, talking about these changes with friends or even strangers can provide fresh perspectives and support that can shift your narratives. Allowing yourself to embrace change rather than resist it cultivates resilience and opens the door to new opportunities waiting beyond the horizon. As you navigate through your own seasons of life, remember that every season serves a purpose. Embracing the changes, big and small, can lead to growth that you might not even expect. One practical tip I've found particularly helpful is setting small, achievable goals during times of transition. For instance, when I was adjusting to a new environment, I focused on meeting one new person each week. This effort not only expanded my social network, but also ease the discomfort that often accompanies change. Borrowing from nature, allow yourself to shed what no longer serves you and make room for new possibilities. Just as trees must shed their leaves to prepare for the lushness of spring. Change is not just an end, it's a fresh beginning, waiting to unfold. Real-life examples of following natural rhythms. There are countless inspiring stories of individuals who have thrived by aligning their lives with their natural rhythms. One such story is of a dear friend of mine, Clara, who suffered from chronic fatigue and anxiety. After years of battling her own body, she decided to experiment with her daily schedule. Instead of forcing herself to adhere to conventional work hours, she began to listen to her body. Clara found that her energy peaked in the late mornings and would taper off by early afternoon. She started organizing her most demanding tasks for that time, while saving lighter activities for later. Over time, this simple shift transformed her productivity and well-being, allowing her to reclaim her energy and joy. Her story is a testament to the power of tuning into oneself rather than sticking to societal norms. Observing nature offers profound insights into how we can influence our personal rhythms. Nature operates in cycles, day and night, the changing seasons, and the ebb and flow of tides. By taking time to watch these rhythms, we can learn to mirror them in our own lives. For instance, I've noticed how the energy of the world shifts with the setting sun. As the day winds down, I feel a natural pull towards quiet reflection and rest. Embracing this downshift in energy has improved my mental clarity and emotional balance. Spending time outdoors, whether through hiking, gardening, or simply sitting in a park, encourages us to detach from the chaos of our modern lives and reconnect with the slower, more vital rhythms of nature. Chapter 6: The Art of Surrender. Redefining surrender from weakness to strength. Surrender often carries a heavy weight, implying defeat or submission in popular narratives. Yet, if we take a moment to reflect, the essence of surrender can transform into something far more empowering. Shifting our perceptions of what it means to surrender unveils a pathway to strength. Rather than viewing it as a capitulation, we can redefine surrender as an act of acceptance, embracing reality as it is rather than how we wish it to be. The moment we choose to surrender our relentless need for control, we open ourselves to growth and opportunity. This transition allows us to make space for new experiences, enabling deeper connections with ourselves and others. History is rich with examples of individuals and movements where surrender became a catalyst for unexpected strength. Consider Mahatma Gandhi, who led India towards independence not through violent revolt, but through the power of nonviolent resistance. His willingness to embrace surrender against oppression instead galvanized millions, demonstrating that yielding can be a form of steadfast resolve. On a personal level, I recall a time when I faced a daunting career decision. For months, I clung to an idea that felt increasingly misaligned with my values. The moment I surrendered the fear of letting go, I discovered a path that resonated much more deeply with who I am. This wasn't just a release, it was a profound rediscovery of my strength, catalyzed by trust in the unfolding journey. So, how can we practice this transformative surrender in our lives? One actionable takeaway is the practice of mindfulness. Engaging in mindfulness allows us to become aware of the thoughts that tie us to resistance, helping recognize when we are fighting against the current. By practicing deep breathing or meditation, we can create a mental space that welcomes acceptance. Another way to embrace surrender is through journaling. Writing down our fears and frustrations can illuminate the weight we carry and encourage us to let go. Through these practices, surrender ceases to be an act of weakness. Instead, it reveals a profound strength waiting to be harnessed within each of us. Stories of surrender, turning points in life. Narratives often reveal how surrendering in key moments can lead to profound transformation. I recall the story of a dear friend, Emily, who was once entrenched in a high-pressure corporate job. She worked tirelessly, chasing promotions and accolades, yet felt increasingly unfulfilled. One fateful day, after delivering a project that demanded immense personal sacrifice, she collapsed from exhaustion. In the hospital, amid the beeping machines and sterile walls, she had a revelation. Surrendering her job wasn't a defeat, but an opportunity for a new beginning. A few weeks later, with the support of her family, she decided to leave her corporate grind to pursue her passion for painting. That single act of surrender pivoted her entire life. Emily now runs art workshops that inspire others to embrace creativity, demonstrating that sometimes letting go can free us to chase what truly fulfills us. Reflections on the liberation that comes with letting go often highlight how surrender can clear mental clutter. I experienced this firsthand when I finally acknowledged my struggle with perfectionism. For years, I clung tightly to ideals that left me anxious and unhappy. It wasn't until I faced a particularly grueling project that I understood the weight I was bearing. While speaking with my mentor, I realized that my relentless striving was not only exhausting, but stifling my creativity. Embracing imperfection allowed me to write more freely, engage authentically, and ultimately connect more deeply with my readers. The liberation wasn't just about relinquishing perfectionism, it was about inviting joy back into my process. These stories remind us that surrendering can be a brave choice that opens up unexpected pathways. By sharing our experiences and learning from others, we can cultivate a mindset that sees letting go not as a loss, but as an act of courage. To find peace in moments of uncertainty, try asking yourself what you might gain from surrendering instead of focusing solely on what you stand to lose. This shift in perspective can uncover new possibilities and foster a sense of freedom that propels you forward. Practicing surrender in daily situations. Incorporating surrender into our everyday lives can often feel like an uphill battle. I remember a time when I was overwhelmed by work and the chaos of life. Every little issue felt monumental, but then I stumbled upon a simple yet profound idea. What if I just let go? Instead of trying to control every aspect of my day, I started to consciously choose to surrender. This meant accepting that not everything was going to go my way and allowing things to unfold without my incessant interference. A practical way to practice this is by setting small intentions, like surrendering during the morning commute. Instead of stressing about traffic, I let myself relax, listen to music, or simply breathe. It became easier to navigate challenges because my mindset shifted from one of anxiety to one of acceptance. Mind exercises are a powerful gateway to embracing surrender. Whenever I found myself in tense situations, like a stressful meeting or an argument, I implemented a simple breathing technique. I would close my eyes for a moment, take a deep breath in, hold it for a count of 3, and then slowly release it. This exercise wasn't about ignoring the problem, but rather allowing my body and mind to recalibrate. In those tense moments, I visualized letting go of the expectations I had for the outcome. I focused instead on being present and responding with clarity. When tension arises, it can be helpful to have a mantra, something like, I choose to let go, or everything will unfold as it should. Repeating these phrases helps quiet the mind and creates a space for forgiveness, both towards ourselves and others. Embracing surrender is a continuous journey, and it's in our daily interactions that we can refine this practice. One day, while grocery shopping, I faced a long line at the checkout. My initial reaction was impatience, but instead, I decided to see it as an opportunity to practice surrender. I shifted my focus to observe the people around me, their smiles, the laughter of children, the hustle of the employees. This small act transformed my frustration into appreciation. The next time you feel tension mounting in any situation, try observing instead of reacting. Deepening our awareness opens doors to letting go and finding peace in the chaos. Remember, surrender isn't about giving up. It's about finding strength in acceptance and allowing life to flow as it is meant to. Chapter 7. Creating boundaries that foster ease, understanding, boundaries in relationships. Healthy boundaries are vital in any relationship. They are not walls that keep people apart, but rather guidelines that allow individuals to coexist harmoniously. Boundaries establish what is acceptable and what is not, helping to define personal space, feelings, and needs. I remember a time in my life when I didn't really understand this concept. I was in a close friendship where I often did things just to please the other person, ignoring my own feelings. Over time, I felt drained and resentful. Through conversations and self-reflection, I recognized that I needed to express my limits more clearly. This shift created ease in the relationship, leading to mutual respect and understanding. Setting healthy boundaries not only protects personal well-being, but also fosters trust and security. They are essential in avoiding misunderstandings, allowing for more authentic connections to flourish. However, boundary violations can pose significant emotional challenges. When someone oversteps these limits, it can lead to feelings of confusion, frustration, or even betrayal. I once experienced this firsthand when a colleague continually interrupted me during meetings. Initially, I brushed it off, thinking it was just a quirk. Yet, it began to erode my confidence. Each interruption chipped away at my self-esteem until I finally spoke up about it, highlighting how it made me feel unheard. The relief I felt after voicing my concerns was profound, but also illuminating. Those emotional impacts lingered even after the conversation. Boundary violations can stir up feelings we might not even know we have, affecting our mental health and how we view ourselves in relation to others. Recognizing the emotional toll is critical to breaking the cycle of silence and resentment. It's important to remember that establishing boundaries is an ongoing practice. It requires self-awareness and honest communication, which can be challenging. A practical takeaway is to start small by identifying one personal boundary you would like to establish and communicate it clearly to those around you. For example, if you feel overwhelmed by excessive messages or calls, let your friends know that you prefer to respond during specific times. This not only protects your time, but also helps them understand your needs. Being clear about your boundaries can serve as a foundation for healthier interactions, fostering deeper and more meaningful relationships. Setting healthy boundaries, a step-by-step guide. Identifying and communicating personal boundaries starts with self-reflection. I recall a time when I was overwhelmed by commitments that left me feeling drained. One evening, I took a moment to consider the situations that prompted my discomfort. I learned that my inability to say no was the root of the problem. Each time I agreed to something that didn't align with my values or availability, I was silently sacrificing my well-being. This realization sparked a deeper journey into understanding what boundaries truly meant for me. In setting boundaries, clarity is essential. I began by writing down the areas of my life where I felt my limits were being tested, be it in personal relationships, work commitments, or even social engagements. I asked myself reflective questions such as, what am I comfortable with? And what situations consistently make me feel stressed? This process turned into a powerful exercise in self-awareness. Once I had a clear idea of my boundaries, it became easier to communicate them. I practiced stating my limits firmly yet kindly, ensuring I conveyed my message without apology or guilt. It's crucial to understand that boundaries are not walls, they are guidelines for how we want to be treated. When I started to express my boundaries, I approached conversations with openness. I learned to use I statements like, I feel overwhelmed when, or I need some time for myself. This not only communicated my boundaries effectively, but also invited others into a conversation rather than putting them on the defensive. My experiences taught me that setting boundaries was not about rejecting others. Rather, it was about valuing myself and my needs. Role playing can be an engaging way to practice boundary setting skills. I remember joining a workshop where we partnered up to enact common scenarios that challenged our boundaries. For instance, one partner played the role of a friend who constantly asked for favors, while I practiced saying, I can't help with that right now. The first few attempts felt awkward, but with each iteration, I found my voice becoming stronger and more assertive. These moments of practice highlighted my tendency to beat around the bush or over explain myself. The more I repeated the scenarios, the more confident I became in delivering my boundaries with conviction. In addition to practice with specific situations, we also explored how to handle pushback. One memorable scenario involved a colleague who expected overtime without compensation. I practiced maintaining my boundary by saying, I appreciate the offer, but I prioritize my work-life balance, so I can't stay late. This role play taught me not only the importance of communication, but also the significance of remaining calm and collected when faced with resistance. We had a chance to explore various potential responses, which helped me visualize navigating real-world conversations more effectively. As I embraced these role-playing exercises, I noticed a shift in my overall confidence. Practicing in a supportive environment allowed me to experiment with different tones and phrases that felt authentic to me. One practical takeaway from my experience was the power of rehearsing difficult conversations. Whether alone in front of a mirror or with a trusted friend, practicing what I wanted to say helped solidify my resolve. Eventually, these rehearsed conversations translated into real-life situations, making boundary setting feel more approachable and attainable. Personal stories of boundary successes and failures. Setting boundaries is an art, and I've found that my personal journey has been a gallery of both successes and failures in this regard. One memorable instance of success happened when I decided to take a stand against my habit of answering work emails late into the night. I was exhausted, and it felt like my work was encroaching on my personal life. With some trepidation, I informed my colleagues that I would only respond to emails during working hours. Surprisingly, this simple decision invited an unexpected wave of relief across the team. It encouraged others to do the same, creating a supportive atmosphere where work and life could breathe in tandem. This experience taught me that boundaries can foster a healthier environment, not only for myself, but also for those around me, leading to increased productivity and job satisfaction. However, it wasn't always smooth sailing. I experienced a painful boundary failure when I neglected to set clear limits with a close friend who frequently asked for personal favors. At first, I was happy to help, but gradually, this dynamic felt one-sided and draining. I dreaded the inevitable phone calls that came during dinner or late at night. It all came to a head during a particularly stressful week when I finally snapped and expressed my frustration. This outburst not only damaged our friendship, but also made me realize that failing to communicate boundaries can lead to resentment and disappointment. I learned that setting boundaries isn't just about saying no. It's about nurturing healthy, reciprocal relationships and being honest about my own needs. Reflecting on these experiences highlights the importance of balance in boundary setting. The encouraging tale of my work-related boundaries reminds me to be proactive in protecting my time, while the failure with my friend emphasizes the necessity of open communication. It's crucial to regularly assess both my boundaries and those of others. Checking in with myself and my relationships can ensure that my boundaries remain aligned with my values and needs. A practical tip I've taken to heart is to practice saying no in low-stakes situations. The more I embrace small refusals, the easier it becomes to uphold larger boundaries. Building this muscle gradually fosters a greater sense of confidence in my ability to protect my space and time. Chapter 8: The Importance of Self-Compassion. What is self-compassion? Self-compassion is often misunderstood as self-indulgence or a way to excuse our flaws. In reality, it is an essential skill for fostering emotional resilience and well-being. At its core, self-compassion consists of three main components: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. Self-kindness involves treating ourselves with the same love and care we would offer a friend in moments of difficulty. It's a soothing voice that counters our critical inner dialogue when we feel inadequate or make mistakes. Common humanity recognizes that suffering and imperfection are shared experiences. We are not alone in our struggles. Mindfulness is about being present with our feelings without judgment, acknowledging pain without becoming overwhelmed by it. Together, these elements create a supportive framework that encourages us to nurture ourselves amid life's challenges. Many of us struggle to practice self-compassion. Instead, we fall into self-criticism and harsh judgment, often thinking we're alone in our suffering, which leads to feelings of isolation. The consequences of this absence of self-compassion can be profound. It can manifest as anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. I remember a time in my own life when I was dealing with a significant setback. Instead of leaning into compassion, I latched onto my inner critic, allowing feelings of shame and guilt to wash over me. I felt stuck, unable to move forward, and I realized how detrimental my lack of self-compassion was. It was a wake-up call for me to learn not just the theory of self-compassion, but to actively practice it. I began to understand how powerful it is to simply acknowledge my faults and uncertainties with gentleness. Understanding the effects of the absence of self-compassion is crucial for anyone seeking a healthier mindset. Not only does a lack of self-compassion hinder personal growth and self-esteem, but it also impacts our relationships. When we treat ourselves harshly, we can inadvertently extend those same criticisms to others. This may create a cycle of negativity that alienates us from friends and loved ones. An actionable takeaway is to start incorporating small acts of self-kindness into your daily life. This could be as simple as acknowledging a mistake with compassion rather than criticism, or taking a few minutes to find a calming, mindful moment in your day. The journey towards self-compassion is ongoing, but each small step can lead to a significant transformation. Techniques for cultivating self-compassion. One of the most effective ways to cultivate self-compassion is through guided exercises that invite gentle reflection and kindness. Picture yourself in a moment of struggle, perhaps a setback at work or a tough interaction with a loved one. Rather than berating yourself, try to visualize what you would say to a close friend in a similar situation. This exercise allows us to step outside our own critical voices and offers a fresh perspective on how we treat ourselves during difficult times. By adopting this compassionate voice, we begin to nurture kindness in our inner dialogue. Another powerful method is the compassionate breath technique. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. As you inhale, imagine filling your heart with warmth. With each exhale, let go of any judgment or negativity toward yourself. This simple practice not only calms your mind, but also plants the seeds of self-compassion, reminding you that it's okay to be human and flawed. The act of breathing compassionately can transform our emotions and create a safe space for healing and growth. Journaling can be a profound tool for cultivating self-compassion through self-reflection. One effective prompt is, "What do I need to hear right now?" Writing freely without judgment can help you uncover your innermost thoughts and feelings. This exercise encourages you to lean into vulnerability, providing a chance to express what your heart truly seeks, whether it's reassurance, validation, or understanding. Regularly revisiting this prompt can shift your perspective, guiding you each day toward a kinder self-reception. Another prompt to consider is, describe a time when you showed kindness to yourself. Reflecting on past experiences of self-kindness can help solidify the notion that self-compassion is not only acceptable, but essential. By acknowledging moments when you cared for yourself, you create a mental reservoir of compassion that you can draw from in challenging times. Furthermore, integrating a practice of gratitude into your journaling can enhance this process. Listing 3 things you appreciate about yourself, no matter how small, shifts your focus from self-criticism to self-acceptance, affirming your worth and humanity. Establishing a routine around these exercises and journaling prompts can create a nurturing environment where self-compassion flourishes. Consistently dedicating time to these practices will not only enhance your resilience, but will also reinforce the belief that you deserve the same kindness you readily offer to others. Real-life transformations through self-compassion. Self-compassion has a remarkable gift, the power to heal us from life's many struggles. I remember a dark time in my life when I was struggling with rejection after a job application failure. I internalized my disappointment and criticism, believing I was not good enough. Everything changed when a friend shared her journey of self-compassion with me. She spoke about how treating herself like she would treat a close friend transformed her perspective on failure. Inspired, I began to practice self-kindness. Instead of berating myself, I started acknowledging my feelings with tenderness. This simple shift opened the door to healing. Gradually, I became more resilient. I learned to embrace my flaws and failures rather than hide from them. I realized that failure is part of the human experience, not a definition of my worth. Research backs up this personal experience. A growing body of evidence suggests that self-compassion not only enhances emotional resilience, but can also improve mental health. Studies indicate that individuals who practice self-compassion are less likely to experience anxiety and depression. They tend to have a greater sense of connection with others and exhibit more motivation toward their goals. The act of being kind to oneself cultivates a mindset that embraces both our strengths and our weaknesses. This open-mindedness allows for growth. One study revealed that self-compassionate individuals offered themselves more support during times of stress, leading to healthier coping strategies, fostering emotional stability, and promoting a sense of well-being. To apply self-compassion in daily life, start by acknowledging your struggles without judgment. When you face setbacks, take a moment to ask yourself how you would comfort a friend in the same situation. By reframing your inner dialogue, you open yourself up to not just understanding your emotions, but accepting them as an essential part of being human. This practice creates a nurturing environment within, allowing transformation to flourish. Remember, the journey to self-compassion is ongoing. It's about progress, not perfection. Embrace your path with kindness. They're simply steps along the path of becoming who you're meant to be. Chapter 9. Embracing Uncertainty. Finding freedom in the unknown. Life is filled with uncertainty, presenting us with a unique paradox. Within the unknown often lies liberation. I remember a time when I faced uncertainty head-on, feeling trapped by the weight of expectation. It was during a career transition, leaving a stable job for the uncertainty of freelance writing. The fear loomed large, whispering that I might fail, that I would struggle financially, or that I wouldn't find my voice. Yet, as I stepped into that void, I discovered something transformative. Without the shackles of a predictable routine, I realized I could shape my own narrative. This newfound freedom opened doors to creativity and opportunities I hadn't even considered. Embracing that uncertainty allowed me to explore my passions and interests, essentially crafting a life that felt more authentic. Often, it is in those spaces of the unknown, where our normal boundaries fade, that we can truly find who we are and what we want to embrace. The challenge is learning to sit with that discomfort and recognize its potential for growth and freedom. Exploring cultural perspectives is essential in understanding how different societies perceive uncertainty and risk. For instance, in many Western cultures, there tends to be a strong emphasis on control and predictability, often leading to anxiety when faced with the unknown. On the other hand, I've seen that some Eastern philosophies embrace uncertainty as an integral part of life, encouraging a more fluid approach to existence. In Japan, the concept of mono no aware recognizes the beauty in transience, reminding us that impermanence can bring depth to our experiences. When traveling abroad, I witnessed firsthand how individuals in cultures that accept uncertainty approach life differently, often with a sense of curiosity rather than fear. They attended to moments with an openness that cultivated resilience and adaptation. These perspectives encourage us to reframe our own views on risk, showing us that uncertainty may offer opportunities for growth rather than merely a source of anxiety. Whether considering personal experiences or broader cultural insights, it's clear that finding freedom in the unknown is about embracing a mindset shift. Practicing small acts of stepping into uncertainty can build our confidence. For example, trying a new hobby, speaking to a stranger, or even changing up a daily routine can induce a small amount of discomfort, but can also lead to rewarding experiences. Reflecting on these moments helps develop an appreciation for the unknown and the rich tapestry of life experiences it can weave. By learning to navigate the landscape of uncertainty thoughtfully, we open ourselves up to a world filled with possibilities, ultimately finding freedom in the paths we choose to explore. Strategies for dealing with uncertainty. Practical coping mechanisms for managing anxiety related to uncertainty can have a profound impact on our daily lives. I remember the feeling of uncertainty that enveloped me when I faced a job loss. Suddenly, the world seemed to shrink, filled with questions and fears about the future. During that time, I discovered the power of structured breathing exercises. Taking just 5 minutes to focus on my breath helped to create a sense of calm. I would inhale deeply through my nose, hold for a few seconds, and exhale through my mouth, visualizing the stress leaving my body. This practice helped me regain a sense of control and reduced the overwhelming anxiety that often accompanies uncertainty. Journaling also became a valuable tool. By putting pen to paper, I could articulate my fears and thoughts, transforming nebulous worries into tangible words. This act of writing not only provided clarity, but also often revealed patterns in my anxiety, allowing me to confront specific fears rather than drowning in a sea of general worry. Encouraging flexibility in decision-making during uncertain times is essential for personal growth. I learned this lesson during my transition into a new career. Initially, I clung to a rigid plan, believing that sticking to it would lead to success. However, as unexpected challenges arose, I realized that adaptability was crucial. I started to approach decisions with a more flexible mindset. Instead of mapping out every detail, I focused on setting short-term goals that could evolve as situations changed. This shift in perspective was enlightening. It allowed me to welcome new opportunities and consider alternative pathways that I hadn't initially imagined. I learned to embrace uncertainty as a space for creativity. When faced with unexpected roadblocks, I asked myself, what else is possible? This question opened doors to innovative solutions and collaborations that enriched my experiences and decisions. In these moments of uncertainty, being open to change became my greatest asset. Practical tips to further enhance one's ability to cope with uncertainty include celebrating small victories. These moments can break the cycle of anxiety by shifting focus from what's uncertain to what has been achieved, no matter how minor. Keeping a gratitude journal is another effective strategy. It continually reinforces positivity and resilience in the face of unpredictable outcomes. It's all about nurturing a mindset that sees possibilities rather than limitations. Remember that each step taken, even in disarray, contributes to your journey. Life's path isn't a straight line. Rather, it resembles a meandering river with inevitable twists and turns. Embracing this fluidity allows us not only to manage uncertainty, but to thrive within it, unlocking a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Personal experiences, embracing life's unknowns. Reflecting on my past, I can pinpoint moments where embracing uncertainty transformed my life in ways I never expected. There was a time when I had a well-laid plan, a stable job, a steady routine, and a clear vision for my future. But then, life threw me a curveball. The company I worked for underwent massive layoffs, and just like that, my well-crafted plan unraveled. Initially, I felt lost, overwhelmed by the prospect of the unknown. However, I chose to view this moment not as a setback, but as an opportunity to explore new paths. I began pursuing long-forgotten passions, such as writing and traveling. Each step into uncertainty unveiled new aspects of myself that I had never acknowledged. I met incredible people during my travels, engaged in conversations that challenged my beliefs, and explored cultures that broadened my perspectives. This journey taught me that uncertainty is not something to fear. Rather, it is a doorway to self-discovery and personal growth. From experiences where my carefully plotted plans fell apart, I've learned invaluable lessons. One particularly vivid memory stands out: planning for a family reunion. I meticulously arranged every detail, from the venue to the food. But days before the event, a sudden storm swept through the area, forcing us to cancel. The disappointment was palpable. However, rather than letting it define our gathering, we chose to adapt. We shifted the reunion online, organizing a virtual meetup that ended up being incredibly unifying. Everyone shared stories, laughter, and felt closer than we might have in person. This unexpected turn taught me resilience. Life doesn't always play by our rules, and sometimes we must pivot to find joy in the unexpected. Embracing the spontaneity of that moment opened my eyes to the importance of flexibility and the power of connection beyond physical settings. These experiences remind me that the unknown should not be feared, but embraced, as it often leads to personal expansion and unforeseen joy. A practical takeaway from my journey is to practice staying open to new experiences. When plans change, rather than resisting the shift, lean into it. Allow yourself to be curious and explore paths you might have overlooked. You might just discover pieces of yourself that were waiting to shine. Remember, embracing life's unknowns can lead to beautiful, unexpected adventures. Chapter 10: The Importance of Play. Rediscovering the joy of play. Play is often seen as a luxury, something reserved for children, but it is, in fact, a vital human experience that we tend to overlook as we grow older. As life becomes filled with responsibilities, jobs, bills, and a myriad of daily tasks, the importance of play can fade into the background. Reflecting on my own life, I remember the carefree days of childhood when play was the essence of my being. Whether it was climbing trees, engaging in imaginative games, or simply laughing with friends, those moments brought me genuine joy and a sense of freedom. Now, whenever I engage in a playful activity, I feel a spark ignite within me, reminding me of the importance of embracing these moments. It's remarkable how play, in its simplest forms, rejuvenates our spirits and fuels our creativity. Real-life stories abound of adults who have transformed their lives through the rediscovery of play. Consider the story of Sarah, a 35-year-old accountant who found her passion for painting again after years of feeling bogged down by her corporate job. One day, on a whim, she joined a local art class, a decision that surprised her but opened a floodgate of emotions she hadn't accessed in years. The act of painting, which she hadn't done since childhood, unleashed not only her creativity but also reshaped her mental wellness. It taught her to break free from the confines of her work environment and embrace a form of expression that connected her with her inner self. Sarah's journey illustrates how pursuing passions and play can lead to a richer, more fulfilling life. Returning to play can also hold powerful lessons for anyone willing to embrace it. I encourage readers to explore activities that brought them joy in their youth, whether it be arts and crafts, playing a musical instrument, or participating in sports. The key lies in immersing oneself in the spirit of play, letting go of expectations, and simply enjoying the moment. By allowing ourselves to engage in playful activities, we rediscover a sense of joy that can be both liberating and enriching, ultimately impacting all areas of our lives. Make it a priority to carve out time for play and watch as it rekindles your passion for living fully. How play enhances creativity and innovation. Play is often seen as a frivolous activity, but its impact on our ability to think creatively is profound. Engaging in play enables our minds to wander freely, allowing ideas to collide in new and unexpected ways. I remember a time when I sat down to brainstorm for a project, feeling completely stuck. It was only when I took a break and started scribbling down random doodles on a notepad that inspiration struck. The act of playful doodling helped to liberate my thoughts, turning my frustration into lighthearted exploration. This experience taught me that play acts as a catalyst for creativity, breaking down the barriers imposed by strict thinking patterns. Our brains thrive in environments where anything can happen, where rules are bent or broken, and where imagination is given the freedom to soar. Numerous studies back this up, showcasing how play enhances divergent thinking, our ability to generate multiple solutions to a problem. When we engage in playful activities, whether it's playing a game, improvising a scene in drama, or even just daydreaming, we activate different regions of the brain that fuel innovation. This connection is not only present in individual experiences. Research indicates that teams who engage in playful collaboration are more likely to solve complex challenges effectively. Creativity often flows more freely when the pressure is lifted, allowing room for exploration and risk taking. Embracing play in our thought processes is essential, not just as a form of relaxation, but as a strategic approach to creative problem solving. Many forward thinking businesses are beginning to recognize the value of play in the workplace, weaving it into the fabric of their organizational culture. Companies like Google are well known for their playful work environments, where employees are encouraged to experiment and innovate without the fear of failure. I once visited a tech startup where the office was filled with colorful beanbags, game consoles, and even a slide instead of traditional stairs. This casual atmosphere made it easy for employees to connect, share ideas, and bounce around thoughts. It was evident that play was not just an added perk, but an integral part of how they approached problem solving and innovation. Incorporating play can take many forms, such as team building exercises that involve games, less formal brainstorming sessions, or simply allowing time for creative pursuits during the workday. For example, companies can encourage free play periods where employees are allowed to engage in activities outside of their usual tasks. This not only enhances morale, but fosters an environment where innovative thinking can flourish. Leaders in these organizations have found that when employees feel free to play, they are more engaged, productive, and willing to take the creative risks necessary for breakthroughs. Adopting such strategies can be a game changer, leading to vibrant ideas and solutions that set businesses ahead of the competition. To elevate creativity through play, consider introducing simple activities like problem-solving games during meetings or hosting regular sessions dedicated to playful brainstorming. It may seem unconventional, but fostering a playful atmosphere can lead to remarkable shifts in how teams approach challenges and create innovative solutions. Integrating playfulness in everyday life. Infusing playfulness into our daily routines doesn't have to be complicated. I remember the days when doing chores felt like a drag. I started to change my perspective, turning mundane tasks into something enjoyable. For example, while washing dishes, I would pretend I was a contestant on a cooking show, using my sponge like a microphone and narrating my every move. The laughter that followed not only made the task lighter, but also transformed it into a vital part of my day. Simple actions can evoke joy. Singing while cleaning, dancing during cooking, or even making a game out of organizing can shift the energy dramatically. This playful approach doesn't require special times or places. It can happen in the small pockets of our everyday lives. When I walk the dog, I sometimes bring along a favorite toy and engage in a playful tug of war, which not only delights my pet, but adds joy to our routine walk. Recognizing these opportunities for play makes even the dullest activities vibrant and fun. Fostering a playful mindset isn't confined to children. It's something everyone can embrace regardless of age. In my experience, I have found that encouraging this spirit starts with curiosity and openness to new experiences. This can mean something as simple as changing the way we communicate with one another. When my friends and I started using silly names or added a playful twist to our conversations, it encouraged everyone to loosen up. I've seen a grandparent become a child again, laughing over a game of cards with their grandkids, and it was beautiful. Play can take many forms. Perhaps it's creating an art piece just for fun or engaging in lighthearted banter. Removing the pressure to perform at a high level allows anyone to experience the joy of play. Inviting play into our lives gives us permission to be silly, to express ourselves freely, and to rebuild connections in a world that can sometimes feel overly serious. Remember, every moment holds the potential for laughter and joy. Through small adjustments in our habits and interactions, we can cultivate a more playful atmosphere in our everyday lives. Try starting conversations with whimsical questions. Challenge family members to surprising dance-offs during commercial breaks, or even take a slightly longer route to work to explore new scenery. turning the commute into an adventure. These playful additions encourage spontaneous fun and connection, enriching our relationships and our perspective on daily life. So remind yourself to embrace silliness and lightheartedness, no matter your age. Accept the invitations to play that exist all around you. Chapter 11: The Significance of Trust Building. Trust in yourself and others. Trust is a delicate thread that weaves through every relationship, both with ourselves and with others. I remember a time when I struggled deeply with self-doubt. No matter how much encouragement I received from my friends and family, it always felt like I was carrying an invisible weight. It wasn't until I started to build trust in myself that I realized the true power of this foundation. This internal trust is what nourishes our belief in our capabilities and helps us navigate the world with confidence. Self-trust means believing in your own judgment and knowing that you can rely on yourself to make good decisions. It's about recognizing your worth, understanding your strengths, and accepting your weaknesses. When we lack this trust, every choice becomes laden with anxiety, and it's no wonder we find it hard to trust others. Think about it. If you don't believe in yourself, how can you extend trust to someone else? When I began to take small steps, like setting realistic goals and celebrating my achievements, I found my trust in myself blossomed. The more I embraced who I was, the more capable I felt to open up to others. Vulnerability is one of the most profound tools we have for building trust in our relationships. It might sound counterintuitive, but when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, sharing our fears, our hopes, and our mess, we invite others to do the same. One experience stands out in my mind where I chose to be vulnerable. I was in a meeting where everyone seemed confident, while I felt out of place. Instead of keeping quiet, I took a deep breath and shared my reservations about the project. The moment I spoke up, I noticed a shift in the room. Others began to share their uncertainties as well, and just like that, we connected on a deeper level. This act of vulnerability didn't make me less competent. In fact, it validated my skills and humanity. Allowing ourselves to be seen in our most authentic form encourages others to reciprocate, creating a safe space for trust to flourish. Each story shared, each moment of openness, strengthens that invisible thread of trust that ties us together. Building trust isn't just about being reliable. It's about showing up as your true self and inviting others to do the same. As you reflect on your relationships, consider moments where you can be more vulnerable. Let it be the bridge that deepens your connections. Remember, building trust takes time. Start small. Share a personal story with someone you feel safe with. Each step you take towards authenticity and self-trust not only enriches your life, but also empowers those around you to trust both you and themselves. Trust as a key component of Courage Trust plays a fundamental role in our ability to act courageously. While courage is often viewed as the willingness to confront fear, trust acts as the bedrock upon which our decisions rest. When we trust ourselves, we can muster the internal strength to face challenges head-on. Similarly, when we trust others, in our families, friendships, or workplaces, we find the encouragement and support that bolster our courage to take risks or make tough decisions. For instance, reflecting on my personal experiences, there were times I hesitated to voice my ideas in meetings. It was only when I recognized the supportive environment around me, built through mutual trust, that I found the courage to speak up. The decisions we make are often interwoven with the trust we hold, creating a powerful dynamic that drives our actions. Courageous acts fueled by trust can manifest in various forms. I recall a situation where a close friend faced a serious health issue. She exhibited immense courage, not just in battling her illness, but also in sharing her journey with others. Her ability to open up came from a deep-seated trust in her family and friends, who she knew would stand by her side. This trust gave her the strength to face not only the personal challenges, but also the emotional toll that transparency often brings. Similarly, in professional settings, I have witnessed leaders who display remarkable courage in making bold decisions, fueled by their trust in their teams. They empower their colleagues to take ownership, fostering an environment where risks are embraced rather than feared. These examples highlight how trust paves the way for courageous actions. Building trust can be a transformative endeavor, influencing our capacity for courage. It starts with vulnerability, admitting we don't have all the answers, or that we fear something, which ironically can cultivate stronger connections with others. Whether you are in a workplace striving for innovation or a personal relationship navigating difficult conversations, leaning into trust can deepen your courage. Take a moment to reflect. How can you extend trust to yourself or those around you? Consider sharing your thoughts and feelings more openly. Doing so may unleash a newfound courage within you that leads to significant, positive changes in your life. Trusting life. Real stories of letting go. Trusting life often begins with learning to let go. For me, one of the most powerful stories is that of a friend named Sarah. She had always been someone who meticulously planned every detail of her life. From her career path to her personal relationships, control was her safety net. One day, she lost her job unexpectedly. The initial shock left her feeling like a ship lost at sea. Instead of panicking, Sarah decided to lean into the uncertainty. She took a spontaneous road trip, visiting places she had always wanted to see but never found the time for. During that journey, she met a diverse range of people who opened her eyes to new possibilities. By letting go of her need for control, Sarah discovered passions she never knew existed, including photography, which has now turned into a fulfilling side gig. Reflecting on Sarah's experience, it's clear how trusting life's flow can create space for new opportunities. By surrendering to the unknown, we allow life to surprise us in ways we could never anticipate. I recall a time in my own life when I faced a crossroads. I felt overwhelmed with choices that felt like they would define my future. After weeks of stress, I decided to take a break and simply focus on being present. I spent a day in nature, listening to the birds and observing the world around me. In that peaceful state, clarity emerged. I realized that my path didn't have to be so rigidly defined, and I could take steps in different directions without fearing failure. This shift in mindset opened doors I hadn't even considered before, leading me to meet people who inspired new ideas and projects in my life. Trusting life's process is not always easy, but it often leads to powerful transformations. Embracing uncertainty allows us to remain open to emerging opportunities, ones that we may have otherwise overlooked. When facing uncertainty, try to step back from the situation and ask yourself what you can learn from this experience, instead of clinging to what you want it to be. This approach can cultivate resilience and creativity, helping you navigate changes with grace and find fulfillment, even in unexpected places. The next time you feel the weight of the unknown, remember that letting go might just be the first step toward uncovering new and exciting chapters in your life. Chapter 12. Listening to your intuition, understanding intuition versus logic. Intuition is a complex phenomenon that often feels like a sixth sense guiding our decisions without the need for conscious reasoning. While logical reasoning relies on a systematic analysis of facts and evidence, intuition pulls from our past experiences, emotions, and sometimes a deep-seated understanding of situations that we might not even fully grasp ourselves. I recall a time when I was faced with a career decision. It was a significant one, deciding whether to take a job that promised security but felt wrong in my gut. Eventually, I decided to trust my intuition, stepping out of the comfort zone and into an opportunity that aligned better with my passions. This moment highlighted the stark contrast between those meticulous pros and cons lists driven by logic and that nagging feeling that something just wasn't right. The advantages of tapping into intuitive insights during decision-making are numerous. Oftentimes, the speed at which we can make choices based on intuition can be a game changer. In fast-paced environments, relying on gut feelings can help us seize opportunities before the analytical mind can process every detail. I think back to a friend who had to make a real-time decision during a challenging project. Rather than getting bogged down with the intricacies of every possible outcome, he chose to follow his instincts, leading the team to a creative solution that they would have never stumbled upon if they had taken the slower, more logical route. This experience served as a powerful reminder that intuition can act as a compass, especially when time is limited. Sometimes, listening to that inner voice can reveal paths that our rational mind might overlook. An actionable takeaway here is to practice recognizing when intuition strikes. Start by paying attention to moments when you feel a strong pull toward a particular choice or direction. Reflect on how those gut feelings compare with your logical analysis of the situation. Keeping a journal can be a powerful tool in documenting these moments, allowing you to explore patterns in your decision making processes over time. By creating a space for both intuition and logic, you cultivate a more holistic approach to decisions that can lead to richer, more fulfilling outcomes. Exercises to develop intuitive skills. Practical exercises can play a powerful role in strengthening our intuitive faculties. One of my favorite methods involves setting aside a few minutes every day for reflection. During this time, I focus on what my gut feelings are telling me about various situations in my life. I sit quietly, close my eyes, and visualize the scenarios that are currently occupying my mind. When I pay close attention to my internal reactions, I often discover subtle nudges that guide my decisions. This practice isn't about forcing an outcome, but rather about being open to insights. Over time, this simple exercise has helped me become more attuned to my intuitive wisdom, guiding me to make choices that align more harmoniously with my true self. Another engaging exercise involves incorporating daily rituals that enhance our intuitive capabilities. For instance, I have found journaling to be a powerful tool. Each morning, I write down my thoughts, feelings, and any intuitive hits I might have experienced overnight. This not only clears my mind, but also allows patterns to emerge over time. As I review past entries, I begin to recognize recurring themes or insights that I might have initially dismissed. This kind of dialogue with myself fosters a clearer connection to my intuition. Similarly, practicing visualization techniques, where I vividly imagine potential outcomes while tuning into my emotions, helps me distinguish between fear-driven decisions and authentic intuitive guidance. Mindfulness practices are also essential in enhancing our awareness of those gentle nudges from within. One impactful method is to integrate mindfulness into everyday activities. I often take a mindful walk in nature, focusing entirely on the sights, sounds, and scents around me. During these moments, I allow my thoughts to flow without judgment. Often I find that my intuition speaks louder when I am fully present. This can also be practiced during mundane tasks, like washing dishes or driving. By paying attention to the rhythm of my breath and being fully engaged in the activity, I've noticed that my inner guidance becomes clearer and more accessible. Incorporating breathing exercises can further bolster our intuitive awareness. A technique that I find particularly effective is the 4-7-8 breathing method, where I inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, and then exhale slowly for 8 seconds. This practice calms the mind and creates space for intuitive insights to arise. As I quiet my racing thoughts, I often encounter powerful nudges that I might overlook in my busy day. It turns each breathing moment into an opportunity for deeper awareness and understanding of my internal cues, making me more receptive to the gentle whispers of my intuition. Trusting your gut. Success stories. Throughout my journey, I've encountered numerous individuals who have experienced remarkable success by choosing to trust their instincts, despite overwhelming evidence suggesting otherwise. Take Sarah, for example, a budding entrepreneur who launched her own tech startup amidst fierce competition. Everyone around her advised her against entering such a crowded market, citing the risks and challenges. However, Sarah felt a strong pull toward her innovative idea, a platform designed to help small businesses streamline their workflow through intuitive AI. Ignoring the doubts of her peers, she launched her project. Not only did it resonate with her target audience, but it soon garnered attention from major investors. Today, Sarah's startup thrives, and she credits her success to that gut feeling she chose to trust. Another inspiring story comes from my friend Marcus, who has always had an eye for art. He was working a secure but unfulfilling job when he felt an undeniable urge to pursue his passion and become a full-time artist. Friends and family urged him to stick to his stable job, reminding him how hard it would be to make a living as an artist. But inside, Marcus felt a fierce determination and a belief in his unique vision. He decided to dedicate evenings and weekends to his art while still maintaining his day job. Slowly but surely, his work began to attract buyers, leading him to the point where he could take the leap and leave his job behind. Ultimately, Marcus now runs a successful art studio, reminding us of the power of following that inner voice. These stories highlight the importance of acknowledging and trusting our gut feelings. Our intuitive sense often emerges from a deep understanding of our experiences, instincts, and emotions. Many times, we are faced with situations where the logical path seems clear, but our instincts suggest a different direction. It's crucial to lean into those feelings, as they can guide us toward paths that align with our true selves. When we take a moment to reflect on our instincts, we can better appreciate their significance. Embracing our intuition can lead to profound personal and professional growth, shifting the way we make decisions. Trusting your gut isn't just about taking risks, it's about believing in yourself and your unique perspective. Listening to that inner voice might just lead you to your next big breakthrough. Pay attention to those feelings when they arise. Consider keeping a journal to track moments when following your intuition yields positive outcomes. It can help reinforce the value of your gut feelings and encourage you to act on them more confidently in the future. Chapter 13: Learning from Nature. Nature as a teacher of non-forcing wing. Watching a river flow is a profound lesson in non-force. The water carves its way through rock, not by brute strength, but by gentle persistence. It finds the path of least resistance, creating stunning landscapes over time. This principle can be applied to our own lives. When faced with obstacles, the natural world teaches us that sometimes the best solution is not to push harder, but to adapt, to navigate around challenges instead. Likewise, as I observed the way plants bend towards sunlight, I recognized the importance of responding to our environment rather than combating it. Plants demonstrate humility. They lean and twist without force, evidence of nature's inherent wisdom. This subtlety invites us to consider how we wield our own power in the world, often asking ourselves if we might achieve more by embracing a gentle approach. Ecosystems function as a vibrant tapestry of interconnectedness and flow, each element playing a critical role in maintaining balance. For instance, consider a forest where animals, plants, and fungi coexist symbiotically. This interdependence shows that every action matters, no matter how small, and that life thrives on cooperation rather than competition. I recall hiking through a redwood grove, where the towering trees host countless living beings, birds, insects, and even tiny fungi underground, demonstrating how health and sustainability arise from interconnectedness. We, too, can learn from these relationships. By understanding our impact on others and embracing our role within a community, we can cultivate environments that encourage growth and harmony. Just as ecosystems rely on a continuous flow of energy, our interactions should foster positive exchanges, leading to collective resilience. An actionable takeaway is to consciously reflect on our relationships. What do we give, and what do we receive? Adjusting this balance can create thriving connections in our personal and professional lives. Lessons from seasons and ecosystems. Understanding how nature's cycles reflect our own rhythms in life offers profound insights into our emotional and spiritual journeys. Each season has its own ebb and flow, mirroring the experiences we go through as humans. For instance, spring is often seen as a time of renewal, growth, and new beginnings. I remember a period in my life when I was transitioning to a new job. The budding flowers around me felt like they were echoing my hope and excitement. Just as nature awakens after a long winter, I too was stepping into a realm filled with potential. This alignment with the natural world can provide comfort and reassurance, reminding us that change is a part of existence. It reinforces the idea that our lives, like the seasons, are cyclical. There's beauty in understanding that during winter, while everything appears dormant beneath the surface, the groundwork for new growth is being laid. Emphasizing adaptation and acceptance through the lens of seasons has changed my perspective in many beautiful ways. During autumn, as leaves turn vivid shades of orange and red, I often reflect on letting go. The trees lose their leaves not in a chaotic manner, but rather as a graceful acceptance of change. This realization hit me hard during a tough breakup. I had been holding on to what once was, resisting the natural cycle of life. Watching the trees around me, I learned the value of adaptation. Just as they prepare for the cold, I had to prepare myself too, accepting that letting go could lead to personal growth and new beginnings. Nature teaches us that adaptation is not merely about surviving, it's about thriving despite adversity. Each season offers valuable lessons in resilience, encouraging us to embrace life's transformations. By observing and reflecting on the natural world, we can learn to navigate our challenges with the grace and acceptance that the seasons exemplify. As we journey through life, embracing the rhythm of nature can provide us with powerful strategies for personal development. Take a moment to observe the seasons around you, whether it's the way flowers bloom in spring or the quiet calm of winter. Consider how these cycles resonate in your own experiences. Allow yourself to acknowledge your feelings and adapt to changes in your life, much like nature does. Incorporating small rituals such as journaling your thoughts each season or meditating outdoors can help you connect with these rhythms. You may find that understanding these parallels can lead to a deeper sense of peace, and acceptance in the face of life's inevitable changes. Personal reflections on nature's wisdom. Nature has an incredible way of teaching us lessons we didn't know we needed to learn. One summer, when I was grappling with my impatience to see immediate results in my garden, I experienced a turning point. I had eagerly planted vegetables and flowers, envisioning my garden full of blooms and produce almost magically appearing. Days turned into weeks, and instead of the lush paradise I had imagined, I was met with dirt and a few timid sprouts. Frustration brewed within me. It wasn't until I took a long walk in a nearby forest that I found a fresh perspective. Trees that had stood for decades, framed by the quiet resilience of nature, reminded me about patience. Their growth was slow and steady, marked by seasons of hardship and renewal. Standing there under their broad canopies, I learned that growth takes time and that beauty often requires nurturing and care over a long span of time, not just a few hurried days. Another moment that reshaped my understanding came during a camping trip by a serene lake. One evening, watching the sun dip below the horizon, I started to reflect on the stillness of the water. Just as it so perfectly mirrored the colors of the sunset, it became clear that our lives often reflect our internal states. The tranquility of that scene deepened my understanding of the importance of inner peace, how external chaos can be calmed by fostering stillness within ourselves. A sudden gust of wind disrupted the surface of the lake, sending ripples throughout the water, and I thought about how life's unexpected challenges can disturb our peace. Remembering that still water can always return to calm helped me realize the necessity of resilience. Each time I encounter turbulence in life, I consciously take a step back, breathe, and remember that I have the power to find my calm amidst the storm. Experiences like these teach us that nature operates on its own timeline and rhythm, and there are profound lessons waiting to unfold among the trees, rivers, and mountains. The next time you feel overwhelmed, consider stepping outside. Take a moment in nature and let its rhythm guide you to patience and understanding. Whether it's a stroll through a park or a hike through the hills, immersing yourself in nature can lead to remarkable insights about life and personal growth. Let nature remind you that every season has its purpose, and sometimes the wait is just as beautiful as the end result. Chapter 14. Crafting your own path. Defining what is meaningful to you. Reflecting on what truly matters to us can often feel like an overwhelming task. I remember sitting on the porch one evening, watching the sun dip below the horizon, feeling a mix of gratitude and confusion about my life's direction. It struck me that somehow I had strayed from the values that once guided my choices. Maybe it was the day-to-day grind or societal expectations that buried those essential truths. By taking a moment to pause and really think about my values, love, honesty, creativity, I realized how these core beliefs were a compass directing my happiness. I invite you to embark on a similar journey. Grab a journal and dedicate some time to write down what you treasure most in life. Are your priorities aligned with your inner values? Think about key moments in your life where you felt fulfilled or genuinely happy. What were you doing at the time? Who were you with? Digging into these memories can unearth the very essence of what is meaningful to you. Finding joy in aligning your life with your values can transform not just your days, but also your entire outlook on life. Check in with yourself regularly. Are you feeling fulfilled? Do your activities affirm your identity? It may help to create a vision board, a tangible reminder of what you're working towards. Keeping it visible can inspire your daily actions. Remember, creating a meaningful life isn't a once and done process. It's a continuous journey of discovery and readjustment. Start today by simply choosing one value you want to nurture and brainstorm ways to integrate it into your daily routine. Every small step counts and can lead to profound changes over time. The importance of individual journeys. Every individual is like a beautifully crafted snowflake. No two journeys toward fulfillment are the same. As I reflect on my own path, I realize how significant it is to honor our unique experiences. When I was in my early 20s, I found myself constantly comparing my progress to that of my peers. I believed that success meant climbing a corporate ladder at a rapid pace, just like my friends. This mindset consumed me, leading to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. It wasn't until I took a step back and recognized that my journey was distinct, shaped by my aspirations and values, that I began to appreciate what fulfillment truly meant for me. Each person has their own pace, challenges, and victories, and embracing this uniqueness can be incredibly liberating. This celebration of individuality is not just a feel-good concept, it provides a vital foundation for personal growth. When we allow ourselves to enjoy our unique paths, we can invest in our strengths, work on our weaknesses, and explore the things that genuinely bring us joy. It's essential to surround ourselves with stories of diversity, in experiences, in backgrounds, and in goals. Listening to someone's journey can inspire us and also remind us that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to life. Whether it's a career move, pursuing new skills, or nurturing relationships, each choice contributes to the tapestry of our lives. Recognizing that we are all on different roads toward our own versions of fulfillment can foster a sense of community among us. Comparison is a double-edged sword. While it can motivate us to push harder and reach new heights, it often leads us down a slippery slope of discontent and discouragement. I remember a friend who thrived in her business endeavors. Watching her successes from the sidelines sparked in me a mixture of admiration and envy. I started to measure my self-worth against her achievements, losing sight of my own pursuits. Instead of celebrating her milestones, I let my insecurity cloud my vision, stifling my growth. Comparison not only drains our energy, but also distorts our perception of success and fulfillment. Real-life journeys. Following one's own path. Throughout my life, I have often been inspired by the stories of those who have decided to carve their own paths, embracing their individuality in ways that are both profound and uplifting. Take the story of Clara, a woman in her early 40s who, after spending over 2 decades in a corporate job, decided that her true passion lay in environmental activism. She faced criticism not only from her colleagues, but from family members who feared for her financial stability. However, Clara pursued her dream, starting a nonprofit organization focused on sustainable practices in her community. The initial struggles were real, but she transformed her vulnerability into strength, ultimately gaining respect and support within her community. Clara's journey taught me that stepping away from the expected can lead to extraordinary possibilities, igniting a passion that can inspire others to join your cause. Just as impactful is the story of Malik, a gifted musician who felt trapped in a life chosen for him by societal norms. Raised in a strict household where academic excellence was the only measure of success, he secretly wrote songs and played in local bands. Eventually, he made the brave decision to pursue music full-time, although it meant sacrificing stability and facing the judgment of those around him. His journey was fraught with late nights, financial struggles, and self-doubt. However, through persistence and an unwavering belief in his art, Malik gained traction in the indie music scene, eventually performing at renowned festivals. His story reminds us that authenticity is not just about choices, but about embracing the struggle of being true to oneself. These narratives resonate deeply, showing that life rewards those who dare to follow their passion, despite the inevitable challenges. As I reflect on the lessons learned from these courageous journeys, one stands out: the realization that societal expectations can be heavy chains, preventing us from discovering our true selves. When we stray from the path laid out for us by society, we often observe reactions ranging from disapproval to inspiration from others. Clara's story exemplifies how, instead of following a prescribed route, she chose to listen to her inner voice. This divergence not only sparked change in her life, but also inspired those around her to question the norms they were living by. The lesson here is profound. Sometimes our greatest successes come from our ability to challenge the status quo. Malik's journey provides insight as well. By breaking free from expectations, he tapped into a wellspring of creativity that had been stifled for years. He taught me that the risks associated with following one's passion, financial instability, fear of failure, are often outweighed by the fulfillment and joy that come from pursuing what genuinely resonates with us. Achieving personal happiness often involves a delicate dance between comfort and courage. Being authentic requires us to confront our fears head on, but it ultimately leads to personal growth and deeper connections with others. Embracing this journey isn't just important for ourselves, it sets a powerful example and encourages those around us to step off their preset paths. In light of these stories, here's a practical tip. Take some time for self-reflection. Ask yourself what you truly value and what makes your heart sing. Consider ways to step outside your comfort zone, even if it's just a small change at first. Whether it's picking up a forgotten hobby, reaching out to a mentor, or simply voicing your true feelings, these small acts can lead to profound changes in your life. The key is to start somewhere, no matter how small, and gradually create a journey that is uniquely yours. Chapter 15. Conclusion: Embracing non-force for a fulfilling life. Reflecting on your journey. As I look back on the pages we've turned together, it's essential to take stock of the personal growth that has unfolded throughout our journey. Reflection can often feel like a quiet moment reserved for the end of an adventure, but it's powerful to pause and recognize how far we've come. I remember sitting in my living room one evening, feeling overwhelmed by the pressures of life, and that's when the journey really began for me. Each chapter we've explored together represents a step on a sometimes difficult path, yet each step has contributed to my evolution. Can you recall moments of realization when a particular insight shifted your perspective or ignited a spark within you? Those moments are vital. They remind us that growth isn't always loud or grand. Sometimes it's the small, silent shifts that create the most profound changes. It's crucial to celebrate these steps, recognizing how they have shaped not just our decisions, but our very selves. Gratitude plays a transformative role in this reflective process. Looking back on the challenges and the unexpected lessons learned, it's important to acknowledge the value of these experiences. I used to see setbacks as roadblocks, but now I understand that they were simply detours leading to greater insights. When I think about times I may have rushed through life, eager to reach the next goal, I now appreciate the importance of savoring each lesson. For instance, a particularly challenging relationship taught me patience and empathy in ways I couldn't have anticipated. By practicing gratitude, I've learned to honor every stage of my journey. How has gratitude shaped your perspective? Every experience has the potential to teach us something valuable. By reflecting on your journey with a grateful heart, you open yourself to deeper learning and appreciation for who you are becoming. As you consider your own path, think about actively integrating reflection and gratitude into your life. Consider keeping a journal dedicated solely to these practices. Each week, carve out time to write about what you've learned, what you're thankful for, and how your perspective has shifted. Remember, this isn't just about looking back. It's about recognizing that every day offers new opportunities for growth. The more you do this, the more you'll notice patterns in your thoughts and feelings, which can guide you moving forward. Each page filled with your reflections is a testament to your journey, a journey that is unique, valuable, and worthy of acknowledgement. Cultivating this practice can transform how you approach life, allowing you to find joy in the mundane and strength in adversity. Actionable takeaways for daily living. Understanding the core principles of non-force in our daily lives can lead to profound transformations. Non-force is about embracing a gentle approach, whether in personal interactions or within ourselves. Instead of pushing against challenges or forcing outcomes, we learn to flow with life's currents. This involves recognizing our emotions and responding to them with compassion, whether it's during conflicts with friends or navigating our own internal struggles. For instance, I recall a situation where I felt frustrated with a coworker. Instead of asserting my viewpoint aggressively, I opted to listen and engage in a calm dialogue. This practice of non-force not only resolved the conflict, but added a layer of understanding that deepened our professional relationship. These experiences teach us that when we choose patience over pressure, we open the door to collaboration and connection. Incorporating the principles of non-force into our daily routines is often more straightforward than we might think. It begins with a simple shift in perspective. For me, creating momentary pauses during hectic days has proven to be invaluable. When I feel tension building, I take a few deep breaths, allowing myself to reset before responding to a situation or a person. It's about creating space for reflection rather than reaction. I've made it a habit to practice mindful listening, especially during conversations. Instead of planning my response while someone is speaking, I focus entirely on their words, appreciating their perspective without judgment. This small shift not only nurtures my relationships, but also cultivates a sense of inner calm. Adopting such practices daily helps to embed the gentle philosophy of non-force in my life. To truly embrace non-force, I suggest keeping a reflective journal. Write down moments from your day when you felt pressure to react or force a situation. Reflect on how you could have responded differently using a non-force approach. This encourages self-awareness and gradually shifts your habitual responses. Additionally, consider small daily gratitude exercises to help cultivate a positive mindset. Acknowledging even the simplest joys can enhance your ability to face challenges with grace. Remember, the goal is not to eliminate all friction, but to navigate through it with intention and understanding. Life is a dance, and by practicing non-force, we learn to move harmoniously with its rhythm. Creating a supportive community for non-force finding, or forming communities that prioritize ease and non-force, can profoundly impact our personal journeys. I remember joining a local book club a few years back that quickly became a sanctuary for open-mindedness and support. Each member came with their own unique thoughts and perspectives, and we were encouraged to share what resonated with us in an atmosphere that valued authenticity over competition. It taught me the importance of surrounding ourselves with people who align with our values. Communities that embrace this non-force approach create spaces where vulnerability is welcomed and where we can express ourselves freely without fear of judgment. In these environments, we find that the pressure to conform fades, allowing us to cultivate our true selves. It's crucial, especially in a world that often feels demanding, to seek out spaces where ease is celebrated and where we can feel at home among like-minded individuals. Fostering relationships that reinforce the practice of non-force involves intentionality and genuine connection. From my experience, one of the simplest yet most effective ways to build these relationships is to engage in shared activities that spark joy and collaboration. I find that spending time in nature, attending workshops, or even partaking in community service together can create bonds rooted in shared experiences. Encouraging open communication during these activities helps to create trust and a sense of belonging. Implementing regular check-ins within groups, whether formed through social media or in-person gatherings, allows members to share their experiences and progress without the pressure of competition. These simple practices keep the community dynamic alive and offer encouragement when challenges arise. By showing up for one another authentically and by celebrating both small wins and lessons learned, we collectively enhance our journey of non-force. In essence, what I've observed is that everything hinges on the willingness to participate openly and generously in these communities. A significant takeaway from my journey has been the realization that every act of kindness, no matter how small, contributes to building a nurturing environment. Whether it's a compliment, a listening ear, or offering resources, these small gestures make a huge difference. So consider this. Actively seek out or nurture those relationships in your life that echo the principles of non force. Each moment spent cultivating these connections not only influences your growth, but also empowers those around you to flourish in an atmosphere of shared ease. As we come to the conclusion of the art of not forcing anything, let this journey serve as a reminder that the true essence of life lies not in control, but in allowing. Each chapter we explored, whether on the power of acceptance, the wisdom of patience, or the significance of surrender, offered tools to help you embrace the flow of life more fully. But remember, this audiobook is not just about passive acceptance. It's about active alignment with your natural rhythms, letting go of struggle, and creating a life that resonates with ease, purpose, and authenticity. The wisdom shared here is meant to guide you toward a more effortless way of living, where you trust the unfolding of life rather than resisting it. As you move forward, take these practices into your daily life. Let them serve as gentle reminders that you can live fully, love deeply, and thrive without force. Whether through mindfulness, self compassion, or embracing uncertainty, the path to effortless living is always available to you. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you find peace, fulfillment, and ease in your life, trusting that everything unfolds exactly as it should.